Welcome back to Patch Notice. I'm your host, Jacky, and here on the Dead Air channel, I'll be taking you through the minor updates that were released for Deadlock on the 18th and 22nd of August. First up, restorative Locket underwent an awful lot of changes on the 18th update. Firstly, they reduced its spirit resist from 10% to 8%. They also went ahead and nerfed its overall healing capabilities by 5, down from 40 to 35. Of course, with 15 stacks, that is a lot of health. Restorative Locket's cooldown was increased by 4 seconds from 24 to 28 as well, with its max stamina restore that previously used to refill your entire stamina bar now being capped at just 1 stamina charge. Then into the 22nd, we had a lot of changes for items and abilities. High velocity magazine was affecting some abilities unintentionally. It's just supposed to buff your bullets, but I believe it was also buffing various throwing projectiles, making them quicker and a little bit bigger. Outside of high velocity mag then, let's have a look at another item that's changed. Silence glyph. Damage was reduced on this bad boy from 150 down to 100, a fair change with how much output of damage it had. It's also lost the additional benefit of giving you +2 sprint, it will now only give you +1. The large change though is in its spirit scaling, going down from 1.5 to just 1, that is actually a huge nerf to its overall spirit scaling damage increase over the course of a game. Following on from that, there was a few other minor changes to Silence Glyph. Reactive barriers cooldown went up by 10 seconds from 20 seconds to 30 seconds, making it a bit more of an actual reactive barrier, rather than always being off cooldown and something that you could use every single fight. Now it will be a little bit more situational about when the item will pop, and you'll have to be more proactive in using it. Following on from that, return fire. Now, it's an interesting way that Valve have decided to balance this item, and we spoke about it in depth over on the latest Dead Air podcast, but Valve went ahead and nerfed its damage by 10%, down from 80 to 70. Me and Blank hypothesized, however, that it might have been smarter to instead reduce the cooldown or nerf it in a different way, as 70% is still a large amount of damage and can be annoying when comboed with other items like Metal Skin. Next on the docket, let's have a look at siphon bullets. These are becoming more and more meta and popping up in various builds all over the shop. They were previously acting as spirit damage for procs, so that has been fixed in the update. However, it's the following change that's a bit more impactful, as no matter who kills you with siphon bullets, you'll now lose 2 stacks on death. Ivy also has some balance changes. One big balance change to the balancing act that is her ult. Airdrop will now silence the ally that's being carried until they've been released. Of course, it makes sense. It only survived 1 small patch cycle, but being able to carry a 7 whilst it's ulting and zap everyone like a big bug zapper is no longer a viable part of the game. Unfortunate, we'll miss it, but it's gone. For Shiv, he's had some more changes to bloodletting. Shiv and Ivy both get a lot of love, it seems, right now, with various tweaks to her new ultimate and bloodletting's damage mitigation capabilities for Shiv, with damage deferred being reduced by 5% down from 40 to 35. An interesting one as well now, as shotgun heroes had a fix applied to them where previously they were applying build-up effects like toxic bullets instantly on ricocheted enemies. Meaning some smart fellow out there figured out that you could use characters that fire multiple projectiles at once to apply bleed or damage dealing effects off the back of using ricochet in synergy with it. An interesting bug that Valve have detected and now fixed, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. Lastly, Guardians are changed once again when it comes to parrying them. Of course, parrying Guardians has been tweaked a lot recently, but now, off the back of pulling off a successful parry, you can't chain stun them together, stopping a Guardian from actually fighting back. Instead, they'll quickly burst you with a laser. A better change. If you'd like a deep dive on all this and more though, and want to stay up to date with all the changes every time there's a Deadlock patch, then please like, subscribe, and listen to the Dead Air podcast. I've been your host, Jacky. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Patch Notice, and get back out there.